I will begin with the official hello and welcome to each and every one of you. Doug here with Trade with Doug, and welcome to another edition of Stock Market Mutterings. This is for the week that begins on February 8th. And as always, my promise and commitment has been to take a grope in the murkiness here, to try to make some sense out of the stock market. And ultimately, the most important thing is I hope whatever I discuss here will give you some clarity within that murk and put some money in your pocket by providing you with these quality trade setups. Let's see what we can come up with this week. Now, we've already known here over the last couple of weeks with the excessive drama towards the meme stocks, the AMCs, the GMEs, the BBYs. We've talked about that, done a couple happy hours about that, done a market mutterings about that. We already know about the squeezes. Now, as that seems to be tapering off now, I have to say that whatever happened there must have lit the fire underneath the rear of beta, because for the longest time, beta stocks have been dead. And when I mean dead, I'm talking about just range bound. I'm talking about the Nvidias, the Netflixes, the Facebook. I know Tesla's on its own. Apple's doing its thing. A couple of them made some breaks, but there was a lot of these stocks. I can't remember them all right now. But a lot of these things were just doing absolutely nothing. And boy, did we get some rally last week. It was on fire. The market started from Monday, went all the way to Friday. Every day was green. The lows were early Monday morning. Market never even looked back. Just click, 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 click. Super bullish week. Has to definitely be the most bullish week of the year, but not many weeks thus far, I should say, in this year. So where do we go here? I just want to say one thing at this point. Whenever the correction decides to come to something that's lasting, it will come. I think at this point, you now have to focus on the emotional number that I've been talking about in the last few market mutterings, and that is SPY 400 or SPX 4000. You know, this thing looks like it's going to be done. We're sitting here at, I'm going to give you the 38.84 on the futures, 38.84 here. The market, the SPY itself, or I'm talking about the futures, by the way, up about 200 points last week. So if it does half of what it did this week, then that 4,000 is going to get done. I think being this close to this milestone, hanging out at this milestone for this long period of time, I would find it hard for it not to do it. Now, I obviously could think you could see some trickery selling in there where you get a couple of washouts. You know, sometimes the market likes to take you on a joyride. But really, I can't find the case for it not to do it at this point before we get any selling. So just kind of keep that in mind. Bullish, bullish, bullish until we're no longer bullish. Now, what I want to do in this mutterings is kind of split it up. Instead of randomly talking about stocks like I have, I want to do it about day trading here, give you some ideas of stocks that are set for day trading, and then give you some that are set for swing trading, so I can kind of keep those two separate. And you're going to find a lot of them right here, I think. You know, if you're day trading, you're going to find a lot for day trading. You're going to find the things that you need, which is volatility, range, back and forth, both long and short shares, regardless of what direction you're going. But I have to first start with what I like to do is find for day trading is bullish stocks and upward patterns that just have relentless rhythm to them, and just buy the dip. I mean, that's where the check mark pattern come for. I just look for a pullback early on, had a handful of basket of strong stocks, look for a dip, buy it, and look for a nice little bounce. This Roku is just stone cold sickness. As far as it's a bouncing ability, this thing is on a ridiculous, I mean, look at the daily. I'm out of words. What do I say at this point? It's a monster that's just developing at a monstrous rate. It's like, you ever guys ever see that old movie, The Blob? It started out coming out of a little can, and it just ate people, and it got bigger and bigger until it was just one monstrous blob. This is a blob going in a direction here. This one here, I'm sure you guys can find tons of them on your watch list. So if you're down there in the comment section, go, what about this? What about this? Yeah, that too. I mean, Microsoft's doing the same thing. Never thought I'd be in a spot where I thought Microsoft was a momentum stock. You've got tons of these that just, this one's just one that's just relentless. It just will not pull back. I remember it was just like a month ago I was talking about, I think we're going to hit that emotional 300. We blew through 300 like it was standing still, straight to 400. Probably goes to 5 now before it stops. And also, I mean, you know, the IWM, this thing is, again, whenever the chart wants to pull up, good old Thinkorswim, this thing is in a league of its own when it comes to the other industry. This thing's just been romping, and it just simply won't stop. I mean, this thing is straight up parabolic, and I don't know. 250 on this thing before it's all said and done. I know it's overbought. It's been overbought. Every market indicator that you slice up, it's overbought, but it ain't stopping overbought. So again, we always say the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. There you go with that one. I think for me, from my angle, the two best bets for buying the dip stocks, and Roku has some earnings coming up. It'll be probably good up until then, but just buying the market right now has been, rather than just being a stock picker, it's just throwing darts at the market. It really is that kind of environment. But this is IWM until this thing can actually sell off. Now I'm talking about day trades. The daily chart is way too high on this thing to just swing it because you just never know if you're going to wake up to a nasty gap down or something. I'm talking about day trades. Now I want to move over to some swing trades, and one stock that I have done very well with over the last year, and a stock that I like. And I like stocks that I like. When you like something, you like it. Is this Cuervo, QRVO. And for my swings, and when I'm looking at building patterns, I like the ones that have consistent uptrends. So this has a really, really consistent longer term uptrend. It's been hard to get pullbacks in this thing. But now that you've moved out of earnings, you've had a little shake here in the chart, you're really, really close to support. I think if this thing, where you're sitting, if I open up this chart right here, I'm going to just kind of open it up just a little larger. You have hit this resistance down towards the 162s, if I'm reading that correctly. You've run into this a few times. And I think if this, what we saw on Friday, if that level holds, this is probably ready to confirm this double bottom and then just, begin to check mark back up towards the highs and trade back up into those 191. So that one has an interesting look to it as well. So Cuervo there I like for a swing, and also I'm going to throw QCOM on here as another one. Just trying to find some value is a little bit difficult these days. So when I'm looking at, when I'm day trading, I don't care so much about the daily. I do a little bit. Mostly I'm just looking for momentum and stocks that have predictable bounce areas, and I look for zones to do business in. When I do something like a swing trade, I look for something a little more established because I want to try to remove the factor of waking up to excessive gap downs. And I really do like QCOM too. It's another really strong stock that's currently going through a nice pullback. I think you need to move just a little bit closer into these areas, and that's where I'd like to do it. So I have, for day trades, Roku, IWM, QCOM, and then Cuervo. Staying with the Qs there, Cuervo and QCOM for swings. Now, I know there's a lot of you here that are thinking, hey, what about these meme stocks? You had the GME, you had the AMC. Well, there was a really big squeeze across the board and a couple of other names that I want to talk about, just in case they give you a round two. Because I'm not trading GME, I'm not trading AMC. But I could make the case for some of these other, and two of these are Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix is one, SFIX, Stitch Fix. This thing was already in a really strong upward momentum parabolic move prior to the squeeze. So guys, if you just crawled out of a rock here with this whole GME thing, or just let me reiterate, because I never know if new traders out there. When this GME thing started, I thought it was a moment of euphoria. But what it was is hedge funds recognized this squeeze earlier, and heavily shorted stocks across the board began to be covered. Many of those were the things that we talked about in some of the others, like the Fubos, Stitch Fix, Fizz, iRobot. Some of these ones that the Wall Street bets crowd wasn't talking about. Here's one of them. And this has been in a really long, sustainable uptrend. Got out of control with that squeeze. Now it's pulled back. You might have some good value to pick this one up here. Just look for some nice strength to confirm and tighten up in this area, and then begin to trade back up towards these 100 areas. I like this one. And I also like IRBT, which is iRobot. This is another one that fixed that squeeze zone. I mean, I love it. Thinkorswim doesn't love it, doesn't want you to see it. But whenever it pulls up, I think you're going to see the same type of, there you go, same type of pattern, the parabolic. It was already in a pretty good uptrend prior to the GME fiasco. Pulls back nicely. Now they've got earnings, but just kind of pay attention to this one. So when we kind of break it down here real quick, I know I've been, market itself, it's bullish till it's not. I would love a correction more than anyone. Not because I'm a bear, because I don't want to keep paying high prices. I think we're in a state in the market, I've expressed it, which is a completely different topic at sometimes. We need to just shake out some of this BS going on in the market, really, and just get these prices down to a better level. But as a trader, I got to make money and I got to go where the flow is. So for me, day trading, I'm looking for the Rokus. I'm looking for the markets themselves are so hot right now. I'd rather just buy those on dips and set up with that. For some swings, I like Cuervo and Qualcomm. They need a touch bit of work, but I think if we're patient here, we can find some stuff that we can position ourselves well, some value, some stocks that have pulled back. If you're going back into the squeezer stocks that might have a round two of a squeeze, I'm not sure they will, but my top two for that would definitely be iRobot and Stitch Fix. So there you've got a basket of three different things. I hope I made some sense out of that market. So I'm going to sign off for today. I want to say, guys, thank you very much for watching the video. Thank you for the support that you've had of this channel and watching the numerous videos. At any time that you need a question answered about the stock market, get on your computer and send me an email. Find my contact details in there. Send me that email. It's still at support@thelincolnlist.com. You can always use that one. I check that one every day. Just send me an email. I'll do what I can to answer your questions, to point you in the right direction. Until next week, thanks for watching this Market Mutterings. Talk to you soon.